So I will call to order the Ways and Means Committee meeting for Monday, July 25th, 2022. So the first action item is the approval of the minutes from the May 23rd, 2022 meeting. Rachel's the first, Junior is the second. Any questions, changes, and modifications? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the minutes with the sign of aye?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed with the sign of nay? All right, passes unanimously. We'll now move to the informational items. The first informational item will be the county clerk's report. So we have Ms. Parker here, and she did give us a report this month, again, as always. So we'll ask Rachel if she has any additions she'd like to share.
Not really, other than our recordings have slowed down, which is understandably with the housing market slowing down. We were on a roll there for a while with all the new homes being sold, so we have seen a difference there. But other than that, liquor licenses have picked up a little bit. So, but overall we're doing very well.
Okay, great. Any questions for the county clerk? Always good to see some revenue and numbers coming in from that office, so appreciate that. All right, we will now move to the County Election Commission. Mr. Bride, if you would, give us an update on, we've had an election since the last time we got to visit with you, and anything else you'd like to share?
Sure, yeah, we had the June 28th primary. We were very happy with the way it came out, considering we had a new voting system and a lot of new processes, new electronic poll books, a lot of change for us, a lot of change for the judges, and a lot of change for the voters. But we were very happy with the way it turned out. The turnout was, it was above where it was. It was kind of in between the last couple primary elections where we were on turnout, and it was, it depended where you were at. It was higher in some parts of the county based on a couple races that were driving some turnout. But overall, we were pretty happy with the election. We finalized it in a couple weeks. We didn't have any recounts, which we're always excited about. Coming up, we've got, those are mailing that we're required to do by statute. It'll come out about the end of the first week, the beginning of the second week of August. We're required to send out a permanent vote by mail application to every voter in Peoria County. So I think right now that's about 100,000 mailers. One of the things we can do is the statute allows us to do email notices if we have emails for voters. We have about 18 to 19,000 emails, so they will be getting emails as opposed to sending out a letter. Hopefully that'll save some on postage. But so we do anticipate pretty good feedback on that. We did it in 2020 and got quite a bit of feedback, but this is the permanent vote by mail. So this is the first mailing that we have to do under the statute to promote the vote by mail. Other than that, we do have, today's the last day to file for a vacancy. If there wasn't anybody in a party, they can slate somebody and that person can file that at 5 o'clock today. So we should be done, at least pretty much done with what will be on the ballot in November, with the exception of there's possibly some statewide candidates in. I know there's a libertarian slate, and usually there's a couple others that we'll find out from the state probably late August, just because typically there's challenges and those kind of take a while to feed out. But hopefully we should have everything by September 1st in time to put the ballot together. Other than that, I think, I don't know if everybody knows this, this is my last week. I'll be leaving. My last day is Friday. So the board has a meeting, I think Wednesday, to appoint an acting executive director, and the position has been posted. So I'll be leaving. I've enjoyed working with Peoria County. I started here 17 years ago. I left for a while and then I'm back. So glutton for punishment maybe, but I am leaving at the end of the week, but I have enjoyed my time with Peoria County.
Well, thank you for your service and in the role. Appreciate that. And I'll turn it over to my fellow committee people. Any comments about the report? I'll start over here to the left, to Dr. Blair.
First of all, I found the voting process very easy and intuitive. The judges were just great at my my polling place. So that was wonderful. And we will miss your leadership over at the Election Commission. I think you've done a great job.
All right, thank you. Mr. Fennell?
I was just curious how this primary was as far as the advance voting prior to the day, and percentage-wise, was it similar or was it a little bit higher? Or?
I was comparing it, typically I try to go back to the last election, so in comparison to 2018, we were up about 160, 70% on vote by mail, which we anticipated. That's been growing continuously. We were actually up early voting, which surprised me a little bit. From where we were. I think we were up about 20% in early voting from where we were in 2018. It's a little hard to tell if that's a trend or if that was because we had a primary at the end of June, which is hard to compare a little bit. And I'm not sure that didn't affect turnout too, just because it's, instead of March, we're in June, and June's, it's holidays, it's all those kind of things. So I think that might have had an effect on the early voting, would be my guess. But the vote by mail, we're seeing a growth in that going forward. So.
And the other question, in the county, did we have anybody after the primaries that signed up to be on the November?
We've had one filing today for the vacancy for County Board 9. We had a filing.
Thank you.
That's all we had so far when I left. So.
Okay. Any other questions, Mr. Fennell? Anyone else have questions for Mr. Bride or comments? Phil?
Yes, they're still, because they had a more than 5% countywide in 2020, they're considered an established party through this election. So they could still file a petition in vacancy for this election. Today. They're established party, yes. So they're the same as the other established parties, yes. Yes. Yeah, well, so the state office, Libertarians aren't considered an established party at the state level. So their filing period was that first week of July with independents and new parties. Yeah, it doesn't get confusing at all.
Thanks again, Tom, for your service.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Bride? All right. Well, thank you, Tom, again for the service, and wish you well. And I'm sure the Tampa Bay sports teams will all be excited to know you're a fan. Get rid of that White Sox gear that you carry around. All right. We'll move to Supervisor of Assessments and Board of Review with Mr. Dave Ryan. Welcome, Dave.
Thanks, Steve. Not too much to report other than last time. We're probably about 3 weeks away from finishing up the 2022 assessments. We've got all of the information has been turned in by the townships. We've got one township assessor that's finishing up her work. She should be done the next day or two, so we should be on schedule, and hopefully by the time we meet next time, we should have the notices sent out. And typically during non-reassessment years, which this is one, we'll send out maybe about 3,500 to 4,000 notices. So, and then we'll publish those in the newspaper also. So that's all we'll get. Everybody else will just receive a flat equalization factor depending on what township they're in. So.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Ryan?
What's it looking like on the EAV? Is it going up?
It's increasing, yes. We're looking at, depending on where you're at, maybe 4 or 5% in some areas, a little bit more. New construction's not as great, but obviously if you've been following the housing market, it's been going up. So we're looking to see probably a couple years of increases in assessed value because of that. So.
Okay, that's a good outcome for the county. Obviously, for the homeowners, they might not like that factor, but the tax percentage still remains the same. It's just the value went up. Any other questions for Mr. Ryan? No? All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
We will now move to the county treasurer, and we'll get the treasurer's update. Welcome, Ms. Bierke.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mine's going to be short and sweet again. We've done 2 distributions so far, and we've distributed $178 million to the districts. Next distribution is August 9th, and other than that, we've just been busy trying to catch up while training 2 new employees, so that's it. Any questions?
Any questions from anybody in the committee? A reminder, what's the next due date for property tax?
September 7th.
September 7th, not too far away, so for those who have not paid their second installment, it's a good time to be thinking of that,
It is.
because we do impose penalties, I think, if we don't meet the date, right?
We do. No
So-
exceptions.
No exceptions. I think I've known some people around here have had some of those penalties, so I'll just leave that alone. Anyway, well, thank you. Any questions for the treasurer? All right. We will now move to Veterans Assistance Commission. Mr. Brooks is here. Welcome, Mike.
Thanks, Steve. So we have 604 active VA claims waiting on decision, 202 waiting on appeal, so we have 806 total claims. The lump sum payments we have coming to veterans so far this year is 4.5 million. And then total money brought in is 30.3 million, both way ahead of last year. Our next walk-in Wednesday will be August 31st. And then I met with Tazewell County again. So I met with the superintendent of the commission and then Mike Delarey, the county administrator. Obviously, we have a history with them. So just wanted to explain the new law. Although I'm not going to take credit for writing the new law, I was the president of the state association, so I knew the language pretty much the entire time. There was a few changes before it went final, but so I just went there. We had a good meeting. I'm not going to speak for them but they plan on hiring some VSOs for next year, and then both of them that work in the office are going to come to our office, and we're going to train them how to do VA claims. Not sure when the date that is. Hopefully in the next month, but they are very aware about the new law and that it takes effect January 1st, that they have to file VA disability claims by law. Any questions?
Any questions from the committee? Mr. Fennell?
Is there any stipend involved in training those people, or is it just,
I'll let you ask Mike that.
okay?
I believe Scott's asked that before Mike was there, but no, I just went there. No, Trish actually went the second meeting. We just want to make sure, I think Mike had quite a few questions since I sent the law to him too, but it was a good, I don't know, hour and a half meeting that just letting them know that what they have to do.
Do you anticipate a lengthy training, or do you think?
Yes, very lengthy. Dude, I wouldn't expect them to be up and running the way I want them to be for about 2 or 3 years. I mean, that's not how long. So you have to get, by law, it just says you have to have somebody accredited to do them. So we're kind of using our own cases to train them. And then when they hire somebody new, or how many people they hire next year, I'll follow up with that as well. We're just trying to help out. I mean, it helps everybody, so the veterans don't have to drive all the way to Peoria.
So the ones from Tazewell have been coming to Peoria in the past.
Correct.
Are they still going to come to Peoria, and you're going to train them with the Tazewell people to?
So we built a rapport. Obviously, I'm from there, but so I kind of know a lot of people. But we built a rapport, so they're not going to automatically just quit coming to us and then going there. We did go down 5% of our veterans less than last year coming from Tazewell, so it has gone down.
Okay.
I foresee that as long as they feel comfortable and they have confidence in Tazewell County VAC.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from any of the committee members? All right. Well, thank you, and thanks for working with the neighbors to help bring them up to speed, and hopefully their local veterans will start using their service and balance it out. All right. We will move to the last item on informational, and this is one that we've spoken before, and Becca's going to come up and talk about the Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy Program, or CPACE. It's a program that was put in place a period of time ago, and I asked Becca to give us an update, so the floor is yours.
Okay, Okay, good afternoon, thank you. So CPACE was passed by the board last May, and we launched the program in August. It took a little bit of time to kind of, get everything in place and sort of drum up some interest to get that launch going. We do not have our first project yet. We are in good company with the other 9 counties who've adopted since us. But there are 14 counties total in the state who have passed CPACE. Is a relatively new program for the state. So we were sort of on the cutting edge of adoption, or the county was sort of on the cutting edge of adoption. I just wanted to share with you some of the publicity that we're doing and trying to drum up some participation in the program. We've had a little bit of interest here or there. Maybe as interest rates change, the CPACE program may be used more often. We have had 3 speaking engagements. One, Central Illinois Energy Engineers, so that's folks who are going out and doing HVAC, solar work, renewable energy work. So they can kind of carry the message for us that this program is available to their customers. And then 2 other coming up, the Greater Peoria, the EDC, has a technical working group that is the 5-county area of the EDC, community and economic development professionals. We will go speak with them, and when I say we, collaborating with Ameren's Illinois Efficiency Program to sort of stack incentives. So just the same as the county has taken advantage of a numerous Ameren instant incentives, and then also written for some grants, that's available to businesses as well and other agencies who can still use the CPACE program too. So they can bundle those, stack those incentives to do an even more impactful project. So we are doing some joint publicity with them. We've redone a postcard to be handed out. Those are available in the treasurer's office, in the clerk's office, and then we've also done a few direct mailings to larger property managers, and then also contractors. Then we have another, the Farm Bureau's Local Affairs Committee. We're presenting to them in October with hopes that we will also be able to present to some of their other committees or the entire membership regarding the CPACE program, because it is available for agriculture and of great incentive to them. Print publicity, we worked with Gretchen. We have a labor paper advertisement coming out next month, and then updated some postcards as well. That's really all I have. I just wanted to let you know kind of where we are with trying to push the program and trying to get that first project.
Great. Well, thank you for the update. And again, I'll ask committee members any questions on the CPACE program and any other suggestions of how we can promote this as an opportunity for the commercial community. Okay. Well, again, Becca, thank you for the update, and keep us informed as we go along. If we pick up some users of the program, that'd be great. Okay, now we will move to the resolutions. We have 2 items this month. We have the typical monthly delinquent taxes, and so you'll see on that there's a fair amount of sales in this to the city of Peoria, and I think these are to the land bank that the city of Peoria has created for some of these properties. It's kind of a reminder, a year or so ago, we got into a lot of discussion with the city of Peoria. Our treasurer worked with them and others and had good discussions. The city has taken an action to create a land bank to bank these properties that were in a endless cycle of going on tax sales, and 3 years later they were coming back on tax sales, and they were not really going anywhere except a lot of paperwork and process. So the land bank allows the city to have a third party hold these properties, with the idea that if we get properties grouped together, a block, a portion of it, they can take and merge. Some of these small properties are really too tiny to build on today with the current rules for building construction. So again, we'll see how that moves forward, but other cities have been using land banks for several years. So this is Peoria's first run into it as far as I'm aware of. So you'll see most of the sales to the city of Peoria, those are moving to the land bank, and then there were a few others on here to other entities. So appreciate, just give you a little bit more update why the city of Peoria is a buyer. Any questions on it before I ask for a motion? Okay, I'll ask for a motion that puts us on the table. Dr. Blair and Mr. Fennel is a second. So can I open it up for questions, comments? Okay, all in favor with the sign of aye? Aye. Opposed with nay? Okay, and it passes unanimously. The next item is an item that comes in from the Elections Commission. And this is a grant that the Elections Commission received. And I'll ask Mr. Bride if he would to articulate this. It's in your packet. So Mr. Bride, if you, I want to put it on the floor first, so I need a motion. Phil and Jennifer is a second. All right, Mr. Bride, would you like to share this? Do we have your mic on?
Sorry about that. Is that better? So this is a grant distributed by the Illinois State Board of Elections. It's based, it's a security grant. The emphasis there is to help us with security issues in elections. This would be, I think this is the third year, but this is actually the first year that that we've directly have used some of these funds. In the past, most of it went to the IT department when we were building up a lot of our cybersecurity issues. These were physical improvements, primarily in our office or around directly related to the election. So that was what the expenditures were for this. The grant is based on either registered voters or population, and I can't remember which. It's roughly the same as a percentage in Illinois. But so we reward a certain amount. It's a reimbursement, so we purchased the three items. One's a security camera. Another thing was fire suppression in our drop boxes. We put fire suppression devices in there, and then we put an observation window in our tabulation room to allow us to limit the number of people in the tabulation room, but also still to provide the ability to watch what we're doing, watch what's going on in there without getting it too crowded in the tabulation room. When we're handling ballots, it's just a little more secure, but still allows us to have transparency. The requirements for the grant are we do have to be part of the cybersecurity, the Cyber Navigator program in Illinois. We've met all those requirements, and so that we applied for the grant. We purchased the items, and then this is a reimbursement grant.
Okay, thank you for the input on it. Any questions from committee members on this resolution? Pretty clear, it's expenditures we've already spent. We meet the qualifications and the money is being granted to us. So it's more of an accounting adjustment. So
The check's actually downstairs.
check's downstairs
Or
waiting.
upstairs. I guess it's upstairs. yes.
Upstairs. Okay. So with that, no questions. Everyone in favor with the sign of aye?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed with the sign of nay? All right, passes unanimously. With that, we're into the miscellaneous section of the meeting. Any miscellaneous comments for Ways and Means? Hearing none, we will be adjourned. Thank you.